Hi there crafty pals, Louise with you today. Thanks for checking out this video. It is another in the share of Scraplift Myself, and I'm going back to an older layout and taking it into the new period and giving it a little bit of a rejig and Scraplifting Myself from 2021. So you can see I have chosen a photo. I've got a white cardstock background. I haven't pre-prepped this background paper. I'm just leaving it raw, and I didn't initially go into this thinking that I would use the same colors as the initial layout, but based on the photo that I chose, I think that just the shades of blue really worked quite well, and yeah, it was that those colors were going to suit. Now I made myself the circle, which is not on the initial layout, and this is purely just to give me something to build my background against. And I don't know, I'm just really into circles. When my layout's quite square at the moment, I like to, really get that circle element in there. I think it really just helps give you something different. And this packaging technique, so I'm using my distress crayons, which are one of my favorite mediums that don't get enough use. And doing these videos certainly inspires me to get those elements stash busted and get out some pieces that maybe I haven't used for some period of time. But you can see with the packaging technique, all I'm doing is scribbling some of that distress crayon onto the packaging. Lots of water, that activates it, and then I'm just smushing it into that background. Now we're going to build some triangles, some explosions of color. I did crop a fair bit of this out of the video. It was quite a long video. Pardon me, of just trying to pick the papers and trying to decide which elements were going to work. It was actually quite a challenge, this layout. Some of them, when I'm creating, they really can flow quite easily. But yeah, I did struggle a little bit with this, and at the moment I'm doing this voiceover, I'm actually taking a little sabbatical from my craft room. You know, I've been out there every day after work, Christmas holidays, I've been spending quite a bit of time in my craft room, and I think it's time to just take a little step back. So when I find myself struggling like that, I will often just, even if there is the desire to create, or I've got time to create, I'll maybe look at a different type of craft. Like I might go do some diamond dots. I'm doing some embroidery. I've got cross stitch and a bunch of different other crafts on the go that I normally sort of put aside when I'm scrapbooking quite intensely. So yeah, when I need a scrap break, if the mojo is starting to go missing or really struggle to create, then I know it's time to take a step back. So at the moment, I am just having a little bit of time out. I've got plenty of videos on the go, so don't worry, there'll be still plenty of action coming. But yeah, I find if my mojo is missing or I'm starting to struggle, it's a really good time to take a step back. And this felt a little bit that way. It shouldn't have been a hard layout because it was a scrap lift, and I knew exactly what I wanted it to look like. So it was, a direct lift of a previous layout. So it shouldn't have been as hard as it was, and that's why I felt like it was time for a step back. But anyway, you can see I've cut some pattern papered triangles. I've cropped a bit of this video out for you because, some of it was just not important to the finished product. But I wanted to share how I made these triangles and how I use these distress crayons. So after you apply the crayon directly onto paper, you do get a couple of seconds where it's still active, and you can use this sort of finger smushing technique where you can blend the color over itself, and it moves quite freely, but it's only the first couple of seconds. So it won't do that like now. If I was to go back and smush that color, it's not going to do that. So you can see that you'll only get a few seconds to actually move that color around, but it's a really cool explosive effect, and I love how this looks. Initially I had only cut 2 pattern papers in those sort of sunburst kind of point triangles, but I need to go back and do some more because there was more gaps, and you don't want to fill everything. You've still got to have that sunburst effect, but I needed to cut a few more colors. So I've popped a few more colors there. Again, I've cropped a lot of this out for you because I'm sure for yourself, if you're going to scrap lift this layout, you can work out how to cut your own triangles. But yeah, so in the background, I have popped a piece of double-sided tape to stick my triangles down initially. I am going to go ahead and glue those tips of the triangles down. And that's because I know that definitely as an addition to this, I'm going to add some stitching. So I'm actually going to stitch the circle. I'm going to, bring that circle in a little bit more. And you can see here, lots of stitching. I thought about 3 stitch circles, but I also knew that I wanted to mount this on a brighter patterned paper. So I'm going to trim just a little bit off and then go ahead and have a little pop of color to mount that up onto that really bright, vibrant blue. And I think this really just sort of finishes it and draws your eye and helps you to, bring the whole thing together. So for the final stages, and I promise we're almost finished, this is one of my longest videos ever, but essentially it's really just embellishing now. So putting everything together, I'm going to use cardboard to mount up my photo, add a little bit of depth and dimension, and then basically I just go to stash and pull as many sort of blue elements and stickers and bits and pieces. Pardon me, you can see journaling there. Journaling's so important. I encourage everyone to at least write a name, a date, anything at all on a layout, just so you know the basics, who, what, where, when, even if it's on the back. Now, these stickers were quite aged. They've been in my stash for a little while. So even though I'm placing them later on, I'm going to have to add some glue because they do start to come loose. And that's just the Queensland heat and humidity where I live really just makes things lose their adhesive. So I always make sure that I glue everything down. Okay, so we are pretty close to finished here. The final stages I'm going to do is add the little banner at the bottom and the little title at the top, but I think the embellishing and the clustering and the pop of color in the background, it all comes together really beautifully, despite the struggle and the fact that my mojo is starting to wane a little bit. I really do like how this came together, and I hope that you enjoyed it. So that's my share for today. Thank you so much for watching, and as always, happy scrapping.